Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Site. Today I'll have Game 6 of the US Masters for you. We're fighting off on Table 2 against Gabe Toth and his Dwarves. So let's go ahead, hop into his list, and then the game. So, 6 game events, which is the only one I've been to, is Masters. They it's a lot. You a lot of fatigue up to this point. Um, so yeah, the last game is always a little bit more than what a lot of people bargain for. So got to be on your game for these ones to come out ahead. So Gabe here, his dwarves. It's a lot of what you expect from dwarves. There's 4 regiments of iron guards, all with throwing mastiffs. One of them does have the orb of towering presence. He has a troop of berserkers, which is not something I've seen very often. He does have 2 steel behemoths, one of them being Golok. He has a battle driller, again something a little unique. So, uh, dwarf stone priest with conjure staff, knowledgeable, and celestial restoration. So a heal bot sitting on the back of the board. Faber Ironheart, and then the formation. One of the bulwarkers has a throwing mastiff, the other one does not. Hammer measured force on the horde in the formation, and loot on the individual. 14 drops, 27 unit strength. So, um, yeah, pretty solid list. A couple of things that are a little unique, but all in all, it's a lot of unit strength. It's a lot of regiments of dwarves to chew through, and it's gonna be difficult to do that. So we are playing stockpile, not stockpile, hold the line in this one. So it is. I don't know. It's a toss up. I don't know if it's a good or bad one. I don't get enough practice against dwarves, and usually the practice I do get, I'm just relying on wind blast, I guess. So that's my hope going into this one is just push him off objectives. So yeah, here is Gabe, and this is our board. So. Terrain wise, we got impassable on the right and the left here, forests across the middle area, hill left and right. Then we got the height 1, the flat, an obstacle here, and a little obstacle back here as well. So for Gabe's lineup here, he's got an Iron Guard. Golok is the bear. So both of his thingies here. He's got the Horde. He then has the Unit Strength 4 Iron Guard here. He put a little token in them. Another Iron Guard. These guys here, they have little spear thingies. So those are the Bulwarkers in both there. Not Golok, but Faber sitting here. And another Iron Guard far right. He has his troop behind, his Army Standard Bearer with loot behind. And way back here is going to be his little caster guy with heal. Yeah. So, and then his battle drillers over here as well. Forgot that. My line, I got a horde of scarecrows who are going to try to just sit in this section. Both my mind screeches trying to jump up on the hill, do stuff. Butcher, I got the soul flares with, I believe this was Helm of the Drunken Ram over here. Yeah. Horde of scarecrows with the leapers or tormentors. Uh, Butcher with the Dreadfiend behind, or sorry, I'm like I told you, it's game 6 fatigue, right? So Butcher with a horror Riftweaver behind. I then have what's it called the Scarecrows. Um, these are the J boots. Uh, Soul Flares, and then Tormentors. The other Horror Riftweaver, Blade of Slashing, the Last Butcher, and then I put my Dread Fiend out on the far right with a horde of scarecrows out here as well. My goal is I need to get around the units, and Dread Fiend's the best tool to be able to do that. Butchers might be able to do it and get there, but yeah, there. I mean, with the dogs and whatnot, there's a lot of shooting across the center line, so I need to run past on the flanks. Didn't really have anybody in position to do that on the left, but I also don't have great targets on the left. I don't want to really focus any resources on unit strength one, Galak, or the other steel behemoths. So I need to really focus on these regiments as much as possible. So I won the roll for first turn, and I gave it to Gabe. My thought being that Wind Blast is the best tool that I have to win this scenario. And if I can get a Wind Blast going off on the bottom of the turn 6 or turn 7 to force him out of a what's called one of the control boxes, the hold line boxes, then I'm going to do that. So Gabe pushed forward as such. Order march is a very good rule for dwarves, and it makes him able to come forward pretty aggressively. So, yeah, as you can see, everything moves forward as much as it can, pretty much. And that's where his turn ends. He shot a little bit with Faber, did nothing because all my stuff's stealthy, and I think he was shooting to cover, so it didn't really matter. So yeah, that is his turn. Something I will just kind of foreshadow here is you look at those clocks. So um, it's going to be a very tactical, very position based game, and the clocks are going to get a little bit out of control for both of us here. So my turn. I don't push forward too terribly aggressively. I do push forward a little bit, but my thought is he's not going to be able to push forward so aggressively that he holds me out of the area on the next turn. So I really want to limit how many units he can pile in dogs on. So I'm giving him, one dog can go there, one dog can go there, maybe two dogs can go into this horde, but I'm not giving him the main units like the Soul Flares, having multiple dogs thrown against them. I'm only giving him one dog opportunities. Or I'm in position to Wind Blast his unit and hopefully not give him more than one. So yeah, that's that. So pretty much, yeah, pretty straightforward. Get on the hill here in order to threaten off the hill for, uh, you know, Crush Tooth under one. Just go in position to Wind Blast Galak is my goal this turn. He did use a couple of bumper units effectively. His what's called Berserker units blocking the two in the middle, and then his Battle Drillers blocking the Steel Behemoth from getting Wind Blasted this turn. So yeah, and then he used the individual over here to block this one. So my goal is to Wind Blast the units here, and then Galak as well. Wind Blast him. And then on the far right, I did do uh, a little, I don't know, tricky maneuver, something that I'm wanting to have to work for me. Like I said, I need to get behind him. So this Dread Fiend, it started off the board edge, but on my turn, I nimble pivoted, moved, and I put him in such a way that he can run straight up the board edge. And I measured, I'm outside of uh, I think it was 3 inches between his unit and the board edge, which means my 2 inch wide unit can run past, keeping an inch away from him. So that was my goal. That is what I'm doing. Yeah. So I am trying to, break past his units to start the game here. But all it takes is for him to just sidestep a little bit, and he blocks it off. And then what that means is I'm kind of committing a turn to this. I'm right up against the board edge, so I'll have to take a turn to pivot perfectly 90 degrees to come off that board edge. And then, so I can't really like dive in towards like this area of the board. Right now I'm really committing myself to run past and then in. So yeah, wind blast works out pretty well. Do a couple inches for the first wind blast, which means the second one's in range. Push him 3 more inches. So effectively, Galak didn't move this last turn. So next turn, he's going to have to move 5 inches again over that obstacle and sit right back there. We wind blast this regiment here. I don't know, three inches back or so, and then I don't think I really wind blasted this unit at all. Maybe a 1 inch, but yeah. So this is what it looks like going into turn two, and this is how Gabe moved. So Gabe just kept his guys even. He moved Golok back up. This unit moved slightly. His horde and everything moved 4 inches into the forest. These guys just moving around. He did create a bumper, so that way I can't wind blast this unit. It's blocked by this unit, and then his army standard bearer got behind that unit. So he's, creating the daisy chain of no more wind blasting, and the two here are protected from wind blast by the troop. He did also put his what's called battle driller behind both of these guys now, so that there's no wind blasting to either one of them. And on the right, he just kind of turned in over here, which doesn't actually stop the play that I was doing, because he's still not close enough to block me off on this side of the board edge. So very happy with that. He did, however, get a little aggressive with this unit. He ran him forward because of the ordered march. He was able to, do the pivot. He's in such a position that nothing can fit in the flank there. So, yeah. And then he unleashed some dogs. So, dogs and Golok. Golok moved. I'm stealthy, standing on the hill still. So he needs sixes. I think Golok did 1 wound is all. But the dogs did like 6 wounds or 7 wounds. His dogs were on fire for sure. I'm glad they're only a one-time use. But he picks up the regiment of soul flares, which is unfortunate for us. It might have been one of the only possibilities for us removing this regiment here, but even then, it's really unlikely because he's going to have this building to anchor on, and we weren't in a position to really get like double charges or flanks or anything like that. So yeah, it is what it is. He shoots at the soul flares with one other dog, gets 4 wounds there, and I think he did 3 wounds to the other one. So yeah, then he has a couple dogs left. I forget exactly which units have them, but I end up backing up a little bit with the second line. I don't want the dogs coming into them, but I keep the scarecrows outside of charge range of everybody. So I'm not allowing him any charges on this turn, but I am also protecting against the shooting of the dogs, and a little bit as well of the second steel behemoth 17-inch range, because that one does have steady aim. Galak I'm a little bit less afraid of because it doesn't have steady aim, and my stealthy, he's averaging like 1 to 2 wounds is all, and I can't really stop that, so I just have to kind of allow it. And if he wants to stay still and shoot, I'm actually okay with that. So, yeah. So repositioning, we did get up on the hill. So my goal here, I don't have any wind blast targets really. I can wind blast this regiment, but my thought is if I wind blast it too far, he can just simply pivot and run this way, and then I don't really have the support to help keep this corridor, and then he's fighting scarecrows, and it's just not good for me in general. So my thought was, all right, we won't wind blast him, but we are in range to lightning bolt the battle driller, and if I kill the battle driller, then I can start wind blasting these guys, because I'm never killing them, so it's just a goal of try to keep them at bay as much as possible. And on the right, we did a complete mission, get the Dread Fiend behind the lines, so we went ahead and did that. I also moved back and in such a position where he can't charge me. I believe I'm outside of 8 inches, so and he can't fit in the flank on this guy. So yeah, that was our goal. So we're again just blocking off all charges available to the dwarves. And wouldn't you know it, our lightning bolt was great. Yeah, we killed a battle driller with the lightning bolt this turn. I think I needed a 9 twice on the nerve, and I got it, and it's just a little silly. I was not expecting that. I was, maybe hoping for a waiver, failed headstrong, and then I could wind blast these guys when the battle driller couldn't be a bumper. But sometimes better lucky than good. Unfortunately, it doesn't really help us with the scenario because that's an individual that we just killed with the battle driller. But uh, yeah, we'll still take it. So also, battle driller's kind of nasty against me. Brutal 2 inherent is just not something I really want to deal with all my low nerve. So yeah, this is what it looks like going into Gabe's turn, and you'll notice like I'm down to 34 minutes already. So we've used a lot of clock going into this. There was a lot of in-depth thought going into both of our turns here, and so Gabe was at 40 minutes, and then after his movement, he's at 25 now. This is top of turn 3. So it took him 15 minutes to do his movement and his turn here basically. So um, not terribly quick, but he had to get the right positioning. He did say, "All right, it's time to commit forward," which is essentially putting me on the clock here because I can't back up another turn. I'll be held out of the objectives if I do kind of hold back. So next turn, I'm going to have to commit for sure. But he runs forward. Releases a couple more dogs, and then just positions as such. So um, he's allowing a flank from scarecrows and all that stuff, but there's there's a lot of angles to deal with my army, and Gabe was aware and dealt with most of them, but there are a couple that he overlooked. So we'll cover those on my turn here. But the main thing that I think forced his hand is this Dread Fiend. He got everything out of charge range of the Dread Fiend, or arc of the Dread Fiend. So, which is fine because I don't think the Dread Fiend without any support was really going to do much. So I want to get up on the hill. I want to get that Thunderous in order to really open up here. So going into my turn, I did think about my turn for a good amount of time still, but realistically, it was one where I knew I had to go in, so it was more a question of how are we going to go in versus if we are or aren't. And this is how the puzzle kind of came out. Sorry for the really bad pictures, by the way. I was definitely already feeling the clock pressure. So we blocked up on the left. We do quadruple charge the horde here in the center. So the butcher that was on the hill was just in the flank. One thing that Gabe did miss, I think he would have otherwise positioned to not give that. So we're coming off the hill in the flank with the butcher. I do have the troop of tormentors here, another butcher there, and then the horde is essentially there to chaff more than anything because we want to hold down this unit. So going in for the kill on the horde, it's a unit strength 4 horde, so would really like to pick it up. If we don't kill it right away, we're in a decent spot to pick it up with a secondary charge following up. We do shoot lightning bolt at the berserker troop behind. Do pretty good, like 4 wounds or so, maybe 5, but don't pick it up, which we shouldn't be picking it up. But very happy with the wounds we got on it. But it won't matter. Gabe has that heal bot in the back, and anything that does take wounds, he'll just immediately remove it. So and then on the right hand side, another one that Gabe overlooked. He was allowing this butcher the flank, but he didn't realize that I had range and just barely arc with the tormentor troop that was sitting in the middle of the board over towards this unit. So we went ahead and took flank, front. Again, our goal is to kill the unit strength. This is a 3 unit strength. We're committing 3 unit strength into it in order to attempt to kill it. So, and then Dreadfiend gets up on the hill, overlooks everything, and where every unit will be on this side. This is what I need to kill over here. Essentially, the stuff in the woods. I'm hoping to kill the horde, but I really can't break the center. So this is my goal. And again, it was the thought of if I don't charge with my horde this turn, um, they're going to be held out of the objective for the rest of the game. So even though it's bottom of turn 3, um, I have to survive for 3 turns essentially, and I already got Mastiffed on this unit. I don't like my odds. We're not going to be inspired likely out here. We're not going to kill him. So, but it was one of those where it's like it's a 125 point unit. The chances of that really mattering kill point wise is rather slim. The chances of me living is rather slim, but the chances of me doing anything if I just stay back is nothing. So I'd rather take the potential, how slim the odds are. There's still a potential that this matters at this point in time. So, and I also had the thought of, well, if I kill, come in with Dreadfiend, come with these guys, maybe I do turn out to the right, and maybe I do go for the right hand side to try and take that away from Gabe here. So I was leaving myself options. So we did kill the regiment here with the combat. We also killed the horde, which is amazing. Not necessarily something I was expecting, but yeah, we had quite a few attacks into it. So the my horde hindered should do pretty much nothing, but you know, coming off the hill, 10 attacks, 3s and 2s. These guys 3s and 4s. These guys like I had dread in there, so I had all the as much as I could, and we walked away with a win on that one in my book. So um, but I will also say that we'll see my clock over here was already down to 20 minutes. So I charged in over here. I think I did roll the dice for the first turn. Didn't do a wound. Uh, but then over here, I didn't even roll these dice. I was like, I know I'm not killing that unit, uh, like ever in this game. So I just hit the clock. I passed it over to Gabe. Nope, no need. So starting bottom of turn 3, I'm like, nah, I'm not going to roll dice. I'm already conscious that the clock is more important than rolling dice. So this is how it looks for Gabe's turn, top of 4. So Gabe came in here to, I believe it was the Troop of Tormentors with that one. He came in here, countercharged there. He This was one I was a little curious about. He only sidestepped the regiment so that he could get a charge with the troop from behind, which is still a hindered charge. So I'm I don't know. I'm not sure on that one. I just didn't quite understand it, but I'm okay with it, I guess. So. And then out on the right, he did hit the Tormentor troop, and then he came into the Butcher Flesh Ripper. And one thing that I did was I sidestepped my what's it called Horror Riftweaver. I was hoping to sidestep it behind the Tormentors, which I did, but I went 3 inches, which was a sidestep too far, putting Faber in my flank and allowing him to get the flank charge. So this you know it was a gamble. It didn't work out. So yeah, that's just what it is. So I gave up a flank when I probably could have just settled for a front and hoped that he didn't kill me, but it is where we are. So so combat wise, he kills the Butcher Flesh Ripper with a regiment of um, Bulwarkers, which I know my Butcher Flesh Ripper already had like 1 or 2 wounds, I think, from a Mastiff that he had thrown. But still, I feel like, I've gotten lucky on nerve dice already, so I can't really complain. But this was one where I was like, I thought I would hold, but I obviously didn't. So But then the one that I didn't think I was going to hold on, I do. The Tormentor troop survives, hitting up me on threes. I think he Bane chanted that unit, so hitting me on threes, wounding me on twos, and he does like 6 wounds, and I live. So I'm wavered, but I live. Horror Riftweaver though does not live. It is not meant for the world. So yeah, this is what I end up doing on bottom of four. Again, this game, like it looking back at it, I'm looking and I'm like, God, this all just seems so simple. Like these charges are clearly the right charges and everything. I tell you, the day of and actually playing against Gabe here, like none of this was coming that obvious to me. The clock was a big issue, and so like I'm only like 20 minutes into this battle report, and it's like, oh yeah, it seems like it should just be bang bang, simple, this move, that move, but let's look. Yeah, I'm down to 11 minutes. He's down to 12 minutes, and this was just turn four, people. So, um, yeah. So, but combat wise, I mean, I countercharge. I don't really actually do anything in the middle here. The one thing I do countercharge is the Berserkers who got healed by the Celestial Restoration back to full. Um, Otherwise, it's all just a little bit of movement. Soul Flares came into the middle, and then my goal was I was just in front arc of Faber, but if I wind blast him even just 1 inch, then I'm out of his arc. I was in the flank with the Soul Flares that were back here on this unit, and so I took the flank and I took the rear. I need to guarantee these kills. I can't have his Celestial Restoration doing work. And Wavering's only 66% effective, or 33% effective because he has Headstrong on 3 ups. So I need the kills when I get the opportunity. So I go in with everything there. This unit's wavered in the front, so it's not contributing. Um, so yeah, combats go pretty well again for me. I kill the Berserker troop. I just kind of stay put where I am. I kill the regiment, but one thing I think I did poorly here was the reforms. I didn't know how his unit was going to be doing out here. I positioned the Dread Fiend in a pretty bad spot, looking to the right. I really need to position to either look and focus on the next unit or work with the other units that I have looking here and turn around and just look here. So I force a reaction out of these units. Um, so this was I think the mistake that I made in the game here of is the reform at this point in time. But yeah, Gabe's turn five is already underway, so he kind of just charges back into everything he's been fighting, all that good stuff. He does charge in hindered now into the horde in the middle. Again, I chose not to fight this combat on my turn and not to fight that combat, and I chose not even to fight these two. I think I was wavered here, but I chose not to fight this combat as well. So I know I'm not killing those. I am not wasting my time. So he just turns and looks in. He's gonna take some shots with Faber, hope to get some waiver or whatnot, but nothing happening there. Or maybe he tried to shoot the troop. I forget exactly. Yeah, he shot the troop again, I think. So he got a waiver, I think, on them. Um, he got a waiver on the butcher. Butcher's up to 10 wounds. Whoop de doo. He did get a kill on that horde out there on turn five. But you'll notice top five, and there's only 4 minutes left on after his turn five, but there's only 8 minutes left on my turn. So my turn, and we're just going at this point. So I guess he didn't get a waiver. He shot but didn't waiver. I think this is where he did roll one Snake Eyes. It was against this troop of tormentors. So for I think we're skipping ahead here just a little bit, but for my turn, I went ahead and just brought stuff into Galak, mainly just to get them in the center and open up position for the Mind Screech. So at this point, I'm measuring, and his regiment is in the left. Obviously, my horde's over there. Those are the same points. But my I put one of my mind screeches over here, so I have the left under control. This horde is also in the left, but I don't expect that they're going to live. So I need to focus on the unit strength in the middle and hold these guys out. That is my game plan. Win the left, hold the middle. Um, so positioning like this, I went ahead and charged to the flank of his regiment. I'm hindered though, so it's not really going to be that useful. Yeah, and then I countercharged there. That was one that I did roll last turn. Didn't roll these. Didn't roll that. So last turn I did roll this. I got him up. What 5 wounds is all. So not great. But didn't really expect much anyway. So, but yeah, we're trying to work with what time we have left with doing what we can. So. And then this Mind Screech just flew into the center as well. I want to make sure that I don't have to do much positioning on turn 6 because I may not have the time to do so. So, yep, just left to right. That's what happened. This is start of Gabe's turn. So he went ahead and double charged in here. I just used my guy for blocking. I'm sure I could have done this better. So the real issue is this regiment being worth unit strength 3, and the regiment was a few inches back. I could have just charged the regiment, or I could have just positioned myself in such a way that only Faber could charge me, and then try to do wind blast on the regiment to push him out of my charge range of me, because I could be back here, which was I think I would have been about 7 inches away. So getting a couple inch wind blast might have done the trick, but time pressure really forced my hand on those decisions. So I just moved forward to block off his line of sight of everything. And now I'm getting double charged, which I'm already wounded. I don't expect to survive that. So and I don't. So Gabe on his turn 6, he had double charged into the horde here, which it's on death's door already. Like it's up to 12 wounds or so, so it should be dead coming soon here. Which he left a 10 wound butcher on the table over there. He killed the troop of tormentors the last turn, I believe, or maybe that was this turn. Yeah, and then he killed the regiment over there. So after killing the regiment, he overran. Both of his units ran exactly 3 inches forward, which is fine because now I'm measuring, and I have an open mind screech here, and I'm looking. This regiment is the key on bottom of 6. I need it out of the center, which currently it's in, but it's only in by 2 inches. I need, or I'm sorry, yeah, 2 inches. I need, or 1 inch, two. If I push it back 2 inches, it is no longer in the center. And I have Wind Blast 6. So that is my goal this turn. That is what I'm going to attempt to do to try and win on bottom of 6. And also try to kill the regiment in the center. As you can see, this is after I only had 2 minutes left. Gabe had 46 seconds. However, I only roll one successful wind blast and not two. So therefore, that regiment is still in the center. We can count that unit strength. He has 1, 2. This is the towering presence, so that's 4. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because this horde is majority on the left. And this horde I expected to be dead. It is at 17 wounds currently, and Gabe graciously gave me a 3 for the nerve dice. So it is alive. But it is also a mistake and a reason why I lost this game. This unit here, these units aren't in combat. They weren't wavered. They did not even move. I didn't even bother flank charging Golok because the time that we have here. These units just needed to move and allow my horde to countercharge Golok and slide into the center, giving me 3 more unit strength, allowing me to be at 12 unit strength, meaning I would win this scenario on bottom of 6, no matter what. and that is where the game ends. So, um, and at the time, like post game, Gabe and I talked, like, great game. It came down, and at the time, in our minds, it came down to that wind blast, that last dice roll, right? And it wasn't until like a day or two later that I was just kind of replaying the game in my head, and I'm like, that horde was still alive, and I just expected it to be dead. It's not devastated at this point, but I expected it to be devastated or dead, and it was neither. Um, and I'm like, if I he double charged me, so I could have countercharged and gotten into the middle, and sure enough, I look back at my pictures and I'm like, uh, the fatigue plays a role. The only good news I have that lets me sleep at night is that um, Ed Fist still won on table one, and he had like a 4 point lead on me. So me doing this would not have given me the Masters title. I would have still probably finished second or third, instead of, I believe I finished sixth, but it wouldn't have changed the overall results of the event. So, great game from Gabe here, and Ed definitely deserved the win in the end. So it was one of those where you can't really practice these situations where the fatigue gets to you, where the clock gets to you. You have to make the most accurate decisions in the crucial moments of the game. And this one was the epitome of the crucial moment of the game. I I just didn't have what it took in the end, and it's something that I'm going to be trying to focus on being better at going forward. I think if I understood this matchup better, I would not be under the time pressure, and if I wasn't under the time pressure, I think I would have the a much better opportunity of identifying my win conditions, which I did not do, and I lost because of it. So again, an excellent game. Honestly, I went 4-2. I think I finished sixth in battle. Uh, Much higher than I would ever expect with that record. And I made far too many mistakes over the weekend, I think, to deserve to be at that level. So, um, I'm overall, I'm extremely happy with the tournament, with my end result. I identified the key factors that I need to improve on in the game, and really, in the end, I was excited about Kings of War. I was excited about the army I was playing, the games that I had. Um, and that's really all you can kind of ask out of the event. In the end, I was wanting to play more Kings of War. And I met great guys. I got to play against some excellent opponents, four of which I had never played before. Donnie, I play quite frequently, but he only gets on the channel occasionally. And Mike Zettelmeyer, I only had played once before, and that was at Crossroads the year prior. So, um, and finishing off the tournament playing against three Mid Atlantic players, and they go on to win the best region. That was a treat in itself. So I really, really had a great time. I had great opponents. Um, and even though I made mistakes, I wouldn't change anything about the event or about the games that I played. I think it all worked out the way it should have. So Gabe, excellent game. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate everybody that was watching me through the Masters event. And I hope you guys learned a few things along the way too. Um, I do have another event coming up in about a week. It's just going to be a 1 day, so it's going to be three games, but I think some people will like it. I have a really wonky list that I'm excited to try, and I think you guys will enjoy it too. So I hope you guys check in on the next battle reports, and I hope you enjoyed these ones. But until next time, we'll catch you later.